Hi, I'm Morgan Garza, and welcome to Embodied Pleasure. This is a sex magic workshop, a pleasure workshop, and a workshop on discovering what makes you feel the most pleasure in the best and easiest and safest way. Just cleansing the space, creating some intention, opening the channels up to receive, and I invite you to ground down with me. Let's take 3 deep breaths together, in through the nose, out through the mouth, or whatever feels most comfortable for you. Two more, just like that. Last one. Even just that feels pleasurable to me. I hope that you found pleasure in that experience as well. And that is just the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to experience together today. So, this is called embodied pleasure. But you can't embody something that you don't know how to find, or that you don't experience regularly, or that you aren't exactly familiar with. So, what we're going to do first and foremost is discover how to connect to your pleasure. Before we get to the sex magic part, which I'm sure everyone is excited for, and before we talk about orgasms and manifesting and all of that juicy goodness, we're first going to learn to connect within the inner world, everything that makes us us, everything that makes us feel alive, everything that makes you feel like you feel good. Pleasure is about so much more than sexuality. It's about feeling positive. It's about having soft fabrics and treating yourself to nice meals and going to bed early and watching your favorite movie, listening to your favorite song, going to your favorite place. These are all pleasurable things. So if you have ever been a little put off by the word pleasure because of the sexual connotation, I invite you to release that right now. And I know that might be sounding a little contradictory considering this is a sex magic workshop, but trust me here. When you release this attachment to what other people have told you something means, you can begin to create the definition and the connection yourself. You make this what it is for you. Pleasurable something could be a totally different thing for somebody else, but for you, it might be something very specific. And that is what I want to consider today, to encourage you to connect with, to identify. So, just think about it for a minute. What gives you pleasure? Is it sex? Great. Is it food? Wonderful. In a healthy way. Also sex in a healthy way. Everything in moderation. Is it wearing soft fabrics? Is it talking to a dear friend? Is it going on a trip by yourself or with your loved one? What gives you the most pleasure in life that isn't necessarily sexual? And if it is sexual, that's fine. But just think about it for a minute. And if you have a pen and a piece of paper or your journal nearby, absolutely write this down and just explore what this is for you. Again, it may be different for everybody. Tune in to what gives you the most pleasure. And just a little secret. Your pleasure is your magic wand. And that is my bird clock. Your pleasure is your magic wand. It's how you manifest. It's how you connect to your inner power. It's how you truly become and embody everything that you possibly can. Because you are connecting to this place within that is alive. So fucking alive that you tingle when you think about it. The hair stands up on your arms and the back of your neck. You may get tingles throughout the rest of your body. You may feel warm sensations. This thing that gives you pleasure is a portal to discover how much it can offer, how much it can uncover, and what you can truly gain from connecting to this pleasurable place. So, now that we have a little bit more of an idea of what gives pleasure, let's connect to the way that we can use this pleasure as our magic wand, but also as a door, as a key to open the sexual pleasure that lives within, the potential of utilizing sexual energy to create the life of your dreams. Because that, my friend, is what you came here to do. Not to this workshop, to this world, to this planet, in your body. You came here to create the life of your dreams. And by not connecting to your pleasure on a daily basis, sexual or otherwise, you're inhibiting yourself from your full expression. When you're in joy, when you're enjoying something, don't you notice that things just kind of happen? You get a free cup of coffee, you get a great parking spot, someone opens the door and gives you a smile that just changes your day. Magic happens in real time. You're manifesting. And even if you aren't manifesting, you're in the vortex. You're in the magic. But when you're not in joy, when you're not in pleasure, when you're not tapping into these things that make you feel alive, you're not really you. You're not connected. You're just going through the motions. And that can become very habitual. That can become so unconscious that you don't even realize that you're doing it. And because of that, your magic diminishes. Not because you don't have it, just because it gets put somewhere else. It gets put on a shelf high above reach. Somewhere that you forget it even exists, out of sight, out of mind. If you don't use it, you lose it. So we're using pleasure today. We are using pleasure to not only manifest and have great orgasms and have great sex and connect to yourself and connect to your partner and connect to other people, but we are using it to awaken everything within, to invigorate ourselves. And this is the crux of sex magic. But you can't run before you can walk. So we're first going to walk through connecting to your pleasure, sexual and otherwise. But now that you have an idea of your non-sexual pleasure, we're going to go into pleasure in the body because this is embodied pleasure. So we're going to dive right in. We don't have a lot of time today, and if you want to go deeper with me, you can find out how later. I'll shoot you an email or I'll tell you where to find me. But this is to give you a taste, that first realization, the aha moment, that there's so much within you that you already have that simply needs to be awakened. It's like you have a room that's been shut for so long you don't even remember what's in there. You have to open the door, open the windows, let some light in, and really connect to what that room is for. And in this instance, this room is for feeling fucking good. Feeling good daily, feeling safe in sex, feeling safe in self-pleasure, feeling safe in desiring what you desire, feeling safe in manifesting because you believe that you are not only worthy of receiving what you want, but that you are capable of retaining it. And we'll get a little bit more into manifestation later, but it's not just about writing something down and getting what you want and moving on with life. It's about realizing that you not only have the power to create, but you have the power to retain. You have the container to keep your manifestation in. And when you are in joy, when you are pleasured, this is so much easier. It's like the glue. So we're going to do a short meditation to connect deeply to pleasure, to address any shame, because shame is the shadow of desire, And I know what you're thinking because I thought the same thing. I cannot possibly be ashamed of what I desire. Hell no. I want what I desire because I think I deserve it. I know I deserve it. I believe I deserve it. And I had great resistance to hearing shame is the shadow of desire at first. But when I let that go and my ego took a step back, I realized that yes, I am indeed ashamed of what I desire, unfortunately. But here's the thing. Awareness is the first step to everything. Awareness is where we realize, where we illuminate what has been hidden. So when you think about shame being the shadow of desire, this could also be shame around sex, shame around self-pleasure, shame around orgasms, religious shame, sexual trauma, so much that we retain in our physical bodies and our minds and our hearts that keep us from truly feeling this pleasure that we so rightly deserve, that we can also self-create. So by addressing this shame, by giving it a name, by looking at it directly, we dissipate all of the negative feelings, all of that heaviness that keeps us from even wondering what it could be like to go there, to go there, to go to the climax, to go to the pinnacle, to go to wherever it is that you want to be with pleasure as your purpose. We all come here with different purposes. We all have things that we are born to do, that we are naturally gifted with, that we want to share with the world, or that we want to express from within ourselves. And these purposes, of course, can be on the spectrum of all of the different things that are possible as a human. But what the common thread is, the thing that everybody has in common with their purpose, is that it gives them pleasure. So what do you want to give pleasure to? What is craving pleasure in your life that it hasn't been able to get past a certain point? You feel stuck. Careful with that word. You keep trying. Also careful with that word. But you don't seem to get anywhere. And this is because you're likely not connected to your pleasure or not aware of the pleasure that's within that specific purpose. So, we're going to get into it. You might be uncomfortable in this next part, and that's okay. I'm actually happy if you are, because that means that you are going somewhere that needs to be gone to. I don't even know if that makes sense, but you are going somewhere that you need to be, that you have been avoiding, that you didn't even know existed, that you had a map to once but lost it, couldn't remember exactly which turn it was. We're going to go there. So, are you ready? All right. This is going to be a short meditation, and if it makes you uncomfortable again, that's okay. You can come back to this as many times as you want. You have this recording for life. Come back, and each time it's going to be easier. And you can fast forward through all this talking the next time you do it. But challenge yourself to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Okay, I'm done. Let's go. I want you to rub your hands together, taking deep breaths with your eyes closed. No one can see you. I can't even see you. You are safe. You are supported. You are seen. You are worthy. Create heat between your palms. And now, I want you to place your palms on your genitals. It's okay. I promise. I'm doing it too. Everyone who's watching this has done it too. With your hands in this sacred space, Be open. Open your heart. Open your body. Release the shame. And just be. You don't have to do anything here. Be present. Express compassion and extreme, radical self-love. This is your portal. No matter what's between your legs, if you are a human, you have this potential, you have this portal, you have this power. This is the closest chakra to the earth, the representation of everything that is finite, that is limited, that is material. But this is where your personal magic happens. Feel the warmth, feel the texture, feel the softness. Again, if you feel uncomfortable, I really encourage you to do it anyways. You are safe. It's okay. As you connect with this place, feel your power. The potential that you have to utilize your orgasm, your pleasure, to power your purpose is infinite. When you release shame and stigma, you tap into so much, a deep, infinite well of potential, infinite possibilities, boundless power and connection. We can use the Ho'oponopono prayer. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I unconditionally love, accept, and forgive myself. Now I invite you to move around your body. Touch your legs. Go over your back, your torso, your chest, neck, your arms. Just feel yourself. Feel how nice it is to touch yourself. Not for the purpose of achieving an orgasm, not yet, but just to feel what it's like to be in this body, to be you, to have this connection, to know that you are safe, that it's okay to feel pleasure, to be touched by yourself, to want to feel your own body. With your hands ending palms down on your knees, feel the uncomfortableness subside. Feel the fear dissolve, the shame evaporate. It's just you. You and your pleasure in this body. your pleasure as a magic wand, your body as the vehicle to explore this world, and your heart and mind as the vehicles to explore your inner world, where the real magic is. Take 3 deep breaths before we come back. Two more, just like that. Last one. Again, if you did feel uncomfortable, I hope you still did it. I hope you went there. I hope you allowed yourself to feel yourself in this safe space. More than anything, more than you getting what you want, more than you having an incredible orgasm, more than you feeling pleasure daily, I want you to feel safe. And I want you to think about making safety a priority and what that looks like for you, what you need to do, what boundaries you need to set, what permission slips you need to grant yourself, what clutter, interior and exterior, you need to clear in order to feel and act safe, embody safety. Now let's get into the fun stuff. Sex magic! Your connection to your pleasure will increase. Again, you can go back to that part of this workshop whenever you want. But let's move along so that you have a little bit more context. Sex magic is nothing new. Hardly. It's probably as ancient as humans. But we have earliest records that date back to ancient Egypt, to the temples of Isis, to the sex magic of Horus, to using energy, our innate energy, to express and move and experience orgasm. And this was not just to get off or to have sex cults and bang everybody. This was sacred. It was honored, it was revered, it was taken in very, very heavy context because it was not just having fun. This was to create. And of course, orgasms, or not always, hopefully, create babies. But they can also create life outside of the womb. So your first chakra is connected to the earth, your finances, your safety, your food, shelter, water, everything that you need to survive. Your second chakra is where we get to create. For people with wombs, this is where birth happens. This is where we make a child within our bodies. For everybody else in the world, this is where creativity comes from, and also for womb carriers. You can create babies, you can create projects, you can create businesses, you can write books, you can make art, you can make songs, continuing on the creation wave. You can do anything from this place. But when it is choked by fear, by stagnancy, by not fulfilling your dreams, then that magic diminishes. And we can reinvigorate this place by channeling our energy, by using the energy of the orgasm, by consciously and continuously working to awaken the power that is always there. It's not like I'm going to send you something in the mail that you're going to have a tangible thing and you're going to say, oh, I can practice sex magic now. I can create the life of my dreams through my orgasm. I'm always connected to pleasure. What I am doing is simple. I am helping you awaken to what is already within. I'm helping you find something that has been stashed away, put in that genius spot that you thought that you would remember and then can't. I'm not giving you anything. I'm not doing anything. I'm simply facilitating the remembrance of your own power, of your own creativity, of your own ability to create. So, sex magic is simple. You orgasm, you get what you want. Well, maybe not that simple. When you have an intention that you want to create that comes from a conscious, clear, and integrity place, full of integrity, full of alignment, full of authenticity, you're not allowing your ego to create desires out of something that you don't have because you're filling a hole. You're manifesting to amplify. You're manifesting to expand. You're using your sexual energy to heighten, not to fill a hole. There's a lot of ways that you can deal with the things that you feel are missing in your life so that when you manifest, you're at ground level. And you're not just continuously filling a black hole with things and wondering why things never stick. So you have an intention that is absolutely in integrity. And when you are having sex or self-pleasuring, you release that intention with your orgasm at climax, and you believe and trust that it's going to happen. And the releasing at climax also requires a lot of surrender, because you're surrendering to knowing that it's happening, and you're not going to check in every day and see what the universe has on the menu to see if your manifestation is up next. You let go, and you trust, and you surrender, and you can repeat. But you don't wonder why it's not happening. And this is so much easier said than done. I do this to myself all the time. However, knowing enough helps you realize and catch yourself in these patterns. So you have an intention, you have sex or self-pleasure, you orgasm and release. But I highly encourage you, and this is one of the only requirements that I'm going to have for you, other than just trust and believe, is that if you are having sex with a partner, no matter who, whether it's your husband, wife, whatever, long-term partner, or if it's someone that you met the other day, to have energetic consent before you practice sex magic with their energy. And here's why. Energetic consent is the same as physical consent in my mind. To have sex with someone for sex magic purposes, for your own manifestations and desires, and to utilize their sexual energy, that's a breach. That's a breach. I don't feel good about it. So when you are with a partner, just simply say, hey, I'm practicing sex magic. I want to manifest this into my life. I've gotten really clear on it. I think this is going to be fun. Do you want to try it with me? And if they say yes, great, energetic consent. If they say no, I'm not really into that, save it for later, pleasure yourself, keep it native. If you want to manifest something with a partner, like a new house or a baby or a dog or a trip or a raise or whatever, cooking classes, doesn't matter, come into it together. Make the act of sex more than just fucking. Write your intention down separately, and then come together and see what aligns. Because when you do that, you give each other creative freedom. And of course, like if you want this house that you just went to see, I'm going to stay on the house because I think that's the easiest example, then you know exactly what you want. But I think it's also great to have people bring in their own flavor to something that you want collectively. And then the process is the same. But this is a really beautiful opportunity because you are manifesting something together jointly that you both want to see in your lives, to make the act of sex an extremely pleasurable event. Set the tone, set the mood, set the lights, put on music if you want, create the ambiance, light candles, incense, whatever. Wear something sexy that makes you feel really good. Make it an event so that the intention feels so much more powerful and so that you feel so much more connected to your partner in wanting to manifest this. And it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful way to become more connected to someone that you already obviously feel connected to, and to go towards something that you want together. You don't have to climax together. If you do, great, but like, how rare. It happens every once in a while, and when it does, beautiful. But don't think that it's not going to happen because you didn't climax at the same time. Your energy is still collective. You're still together, and you're still going towards the same goal. And again, when you climax, have the intention at top of mind. And I know that can be hard sometimes when you're making withdrawals from the spank bank, but try. And don't try, do. Just do it. Send your intention out, say thank you. And if you are with a partner doing this, that liminal space after climax, when you're laying together and enjoying each other's company and just feeling so blissful, talk about what it would feel to have that in your life. Talk about how it would make you feel, how it would change your relationship, what opportunities it would create, what doors it would open, what doors it would close. Because to bring something in, you also have to let something go. We're not hoarders here. No, it's not cute. It doesn't work. It ends up being highly toxic. So when you're bringing something in, you also have to let something go. So spend that time together when you're just covered in bliss to talk about the feeling of what you're calling in. And that is power. That is sex magic. And doing it together is great. That is how it was recommended to be done in the Magdalene manuscripts in ancient times. But that doesn't mean that you can't also do this alone. And that doesn't mean that it's not powerful if you aren't coupled and if you are doing this alone. I think it's a beautiful act to not only pleasure yourself, but to get so connected to what you want to create that through your pleasure, you are creating the life of your dreams. And you're releasing stigma, and you're releasing shame, and you're falling deeply in love with yourself. That is one byproduct of this, that no matter what happens, by connecting to your pleasure, you are going to learn about yourself so much, and you're going to fall in love with yourself, because how can you not? How can you deny yourself of the things that you want? How can you say, I want these things, but I also don't love myself? Because you're going to have to let all of that shit go. This is Cooper. You're going to have to let it go. It's not helping anyone. It's not helping you manifest. It's not helping you feel pleasure. It's not helping you release any shame or trauma that you have. You got to let it go. And that is when shit really starts to happen. That's when things move and shake and shift and release. And that is when you might find that things just manifest and fall into your lap. So when you're thinking about shame being the shadow of desire, this is where we're going to get into a little bit more of the manifesting side of sex magic. Like I was saying in the beginning, when you're ashamed of something, that's a block. It creates a belief that you are not worthy, that you don't deserve what you want, that you can't have it because you've never had it before, and you've had all of these validating experiences throughout your entire life that have shown you, no, indeed, you cannot have this. And unfortunately, it's never going to be available to you. So that has to go. When you are ashamed of something, there's no way you can manifest it. That energy is more dense than the energy of bringing it in. And I always love to use this analogy. But shame becomes a dense black hole filled with light, All of the things that get sucked into a black hole are inherently light, but darkness absolute. So the density of a black hole is more powerful than anything that is light around it. And when you allow that density to grow and to grow and to grow, it becomes more powerful than anything. It dims your light. It takes you away from your magic. It makes you think that it reigns, that it rules, that it is law. But it's only half of you. When you have your darkness and you have your light, which we all have, no one is without darkness, not even the Dalai Lama, not even the most ascended beings, nobody. Not that yoga teacher that you went on a retreat with. Nobody. So we have darkness and light, and they play together, right? They feed off of each other. They're not independent. They are inherently connected, interwoven. The darkness can draw away from the light, and the light can draw from the darkness. Both are powerful. But it's the darkness that can overtake, that becomes too dense, too disconnected from the light, that we start to give way to it. We become majority darkness rather than the opposite. And the opposite is also toxic. If you don't connect to your darkness enough, not that you don't have it, we all do. If you don't connect to your darkness enough, you're going to be all light. You're going to float away. You're going to love and light everything. You're not going to accept anybody's pain. You're going to have no compassion for anything. You're going to say, they're in a better place. It'll get better tomorrow. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. You can do this. You're strong. I know you want to be encouraging, and I know you want to be positive, but you can be positive and also acknowledge somebody's pain. You can be positive and also acknowledge your pain. You can be positive and also acknowledge the fact that the world is in pain. You don't have to love and light bullshit everything away. Acknowledging something does not give it power. It actually lessens power. But when you're all light and you don't connect to your darkness at all, you're going to be that person that's like, when people say, oh, they're too nice. Like, I don't trust them. Like, they're just too nice, happy all the time. Like, you don't feel real. Because you're filamenty, you're just all these sparkly bits of light that aren't grounded in reality. You have no idea what's actually going on within you or within other people, and you don't validate anybody's experience, even if you can't relate to it. That was a tangent. I feel very passionate about that, though. Love, Light, and Black Holes is my life, my trademark, my upcoming book. Because I believe that you absolutely have to honor the black hole that's at the center of your soul. And if you just love and light everything away, you're going to bypass through everything in your life. You are never going to realize how much power you're giving away by being nice and by pretending things don't bother you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Anyways, so when we're thinking about shame and desire, it's so important to understand the why. What are the roots? When did this start? What was the initial event that made you think that you weren't worthy of this or that gave you shame? Maybe it was growing up with no money, seeing your parents hustle, or seeing one parent hustle, or not having parents and hustling yourself, or having to raise your little brothers and sisters at a very young age and thinking that money is hard. It's difficult to come by. Not everybody gets it. Not everybody deserves it. And when you have it, it goes away immediately because there's so many things backlogged to pay for. Or it could be sex doesn't feel good. I don't like sex. Maybe there was a sexual trauma when you were younger, or something happened in your adult years that made you want to retreat from sex, or you've never been able to touch yourself or to have an experience that felt safe. And this is so common. So many people will say and raise their hand, me too. I've been violated in some way, whether minimal or extreme, there's no comparison, that has taken me away from feeling safe in sex, from feeling safe to climax, from feeling safe to touch myself. So we have to think about the root. Once we understand the why, we're aware of the problem, we understand why it's there, then we can accept it. And then we move into freedom. So this is my process for everything. Awareness, understanding, acceptance, freedom. It sounds simple, but there's a lot of work that happens within each step and to the bridge to each next step. But that initial awareness and understanding, that first half, sets a beautiful and strong foundation for you to move into acceptance and then effortlessly into freedom. Your soul is like a disco ball. Every facet is valid, every facet is needed. The light can touch everything. But if we break one, or if one falls off, we deem ourselves unworthy. We don't accept it. We want to black one out because we feel so ashamed by it. We're so worried of people seeing it, of acknowledging that it's there, that we don't let our entire disco ball soul shine. But acceptance is self-love, and that's why it leads to freedom. Because when you understand the problem and you can accept it with love and compassion, then you can move to freedom and have that be one less thing that you worry about every day with every breath, in the morning, in the evening, before you go to bed, right when you wake up. It creates a freedom that you didn't know you needed. The body is so resilient. We can deal with so much shit. We can go through so many things and be resilient through them and not realize how much we've taken on and that we don't really need to. Just because you can endure something doesn't mean you have to, especially when you're talking about something that you've been harboring for decades, that has now morphed into something totally different because it's been so long and there's been validating experiences along the way, and because we're ashamed of it, and because we've talked ourselves out of accepting it and the fact that it even happened. Believe me, I know. So, the root of the shame is where the pleasure lives. And understanding why it's there, why it happened, why you reacted the way that you did, why you haven't dealt with it in so long, will help you manifest what you desire. So on the opposite of that shame is what you want. It's how you want to feel. It's what you want to see in your life. It's who you want to be with. But until we can understand that addressing this shame is so important, that there even is shame there in the first place, we'll never get there. And that is so important. So, so important. And this may not have been the sex magic workshop you thought you were getting. Nipple flicking and, hair tossing and KY jelly. But I guarantee this is the workshop that you needed to understand how intrinsically connected pleasure is to what you desire. Shame is to what you desire. Everything is connected, but especially shame and desire. And the bridge to get from one to the other is through pleasure. It's probably through feeling a bit uncomfortable for a while too, and allowing yourself the grace and the understanding and the compassion to be uncomfortable and to be okay with being uncomfortable. We can't do it all. We can't do it all at the same time. But little by little, the more that you come back to pleasure, the more that you connect with your pleasure, the more that you make pleasure a daily ritual, and ritual is a carefully chosen word because it is rooted in reverence. Making pleasure a daily ritual will slowly help you get closer and closer to where you want to be. Away from the shame, closer to what you desire, closer to healing, closer to releasing the stigma around pleasure. and closer to yourself, which is where we all need to be. So before we leave, we're going to do a quick EFT tapping session to just crystallize all of this, get any residual icky feelings out of the body, get out of the head, get into the body in a safe and trusting way, and ultimately create the life of your dreams. So if you're not familiar with EFT tapping, it stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. It's basically psychological acupressure. It is a very, very powerful practice that focuses on touching and tapping meridian lines along the body that naturally carry a lot of energy and tension, and speaking aloud affirmations and things that make you feel safe, that clear out some shit that has been stuck or sitting for too long and collected dust, and to have a radical awareness of where you are right now and what you want. And if you feel a little weird doing this, don't worry. Again, no one can see you. This is just for you. And this is something that, again, you can come back to anytime. There's also tons of EFT tapping videos on YouTube for basically anything you can imagine. Put in the ailment, put in EFT tapping, it's there. So this is a call and response. You just say what I say and tap where I tap. I'm going to grab a drink of water. And just as a note, this is designed to bring shit up and out. So if you feel like you're yawning, you're coughing, you're burping, you're laughing, you're covered in chills, any physiological response is okay. So just let it happen and let it ride. We're going to start at the karate chop point. Take a deep breath here. Get centered. Ooh, my neck just popped a lot. The karate chop point is where we tap out the perceived negative. A negative is a perception. So just say what I say, tap where I tap, and then you'll be free to move on with your life and to start practicing pleasure. I never realized how ashamed I was of pleasure. It's so hard to look at this. It's hard to connect shame to desire. And I may have a lot of shame around sexuality that I need to address. But I unconditionally love, accept, and forgive myself. I am aware of my power, and I know that I haven't been tapping into my full potential. I've been afraid. I've been hurt. I've been living in fear and trauma. But it's okay because I'm aware. I'm aware of where I am and where I want to go. I am capable of looking at this. I unconditionally love, accept, and forgive myself. I am not going to be afraid anymore. I am not going to live in shame. I've been too dim, not shiny, and I'm done. No self-pity, only self-awareness. Okay, place your palms up, take a deep breath, and let it go. And I apologize for the beeping. They're doing construction across the street, and they have been for a year, so at least you're only getting it for a few minutes and not 12 months. Okay, now we'll move to the top of the head, and you're going to want to have your eyes open for this part because you're going to want to see where I tap. But again, it's still just call and response. And this is right at the crown, like right where your head starts to curve backwards. And the pressure is light. It's no harder than as if you were tapping someone on the shoulders to get their attention. You can use one hand or you can use both. It doesn't matter your dominant hand or your non-dominant hand. If you don't have full mobility, do whatever is available to you. I am a pleasure magic wand. Pleasure is my birthright. And in order to create the life of my dreams, I know I need to tap into my pleasure. And I deserve it. I deserve to feel good, to look good, to want beautiful things in my life. I deserve to have orgasms that make me feel safe. I deserve to feel safe in this body. I'm done with shame. I don't have space for that anymore. I've got places to go, people to see, money to make, love to live, and so much magic to create. I'm not letting my shame hold me back. I am awakening my pleasure from deep within, and I am connecting to it consciously on a daily basis. Because this is where my magic lives. And so it is, and so it shall be. Okay, take a deep breath, hold it at the top, and let that shit go. Let it go, let it out, release, grab some water. You can do some journaling after this. This is a very powerful practice, though it may have seemed very simple. Give your body a little shake, roll your neck out, roll your shoulders. Just feel what it feels to have this buzzing sensation throughout your body. This is embodied pleasure. You did it. You made it through, even if you were uncomfortable at times. Your pleasure needs to be seen. Your darkness needs to be addressed. Your light cannot be dominant. You are two halves of one whole, your darkness and your light. You need both, and it's okay. What's not okay is to deny, to live in shame, and to not embody your pleasure. So go forth, be in pleasure, be in love. Look in the mirror and say, I love you every day. And you will be free from everything that holds you back. And soon enough, you're going to realize that you are designing the life of your dreams. If you want to go deeper, there's a lot more information on morgangarza.com. That's where you can find everything. So I'm just going to drop that there. You can also send me a message at love@morgangarza.com. And I wish you all the best, all the most pleasurable experiences. Love, light, and black holes.